Hold on. Let's rock and roll this show.
Yes.
And we got a very, very special guest here on the show with us today. So
great.
This is
Hi,
some
Elise.
exciting stuff.
Hi,
Ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome today's relationship coach and tomorrow's relationship coach as well. A lot of good stuff we're going to talk about today. She has a double degree from Washington University in St. Louis in psychology and Spanish. She has worked in brand research, business intelligence, and she will also teach you how to yoga and tango.
Tango. I want to learn how to tango.
Please, here you go. Please welcome Elise Dorsett. How are you, Elise? Good morning.
Good morning to you too. I'm so honored to be here. Thank you for having me on. And thank you for the energy you bring. I love it.
Yeah.
And I love your music too.
We are wake up to the vibe. That's what we do here.
It's early, but we try.
So I want to remind our viewing audience, or tell them for the first time, because I don't think I mentioned this actually, you are in Zurich, Switzerland.
Yes, I'm in Zurich, Switzerland. I'm originally from Raleigh, North Carolina, and now I'm in Zurich.
Hey, Raleigh, North Carolina, upstate New York. That's where I call home. So, but we were talking earlier how impressive it is, the quality of the video and the audio, and being able to connect. Right now, we have Raleigh, North Carolina, Johnstown, New York, and Zurich, Switzerland, live to all of the people in the room from all over the world. This is awesome.
Amazing.
It's absolutely incredible. It really is, and it's something we take advantage of. We can just acknowledge the amazing technology that we can use.
It's so
true.
Cool. So cool. So let's start here. You are a professional relationship coach. And I say that because you're not just like coaching friends at the bar with a couple of beers.
Wait a minute. Elise, are you in a relationship?
I am married. Yes.
Yes. I had to ask. Sorry.
I am married. And I've also, one of the things about my story, and I'll just be very upfront about this, is I've made all the relationship mistakes that you can make before my marriage. And I think that's what makes me a better coach, because I'm a neutral party. I've heard it all. I've, made so many mistakes that it helps me to empathize, and I can understand where people are coming from.
I love that. I actually have said to my son many times, I can't tell you what to do, but I could tell you what not to do. which is sometimes the better lesson.
That's so true.
So a couple things here. I want to tell all of our viewers in the room, as well as you, Elise, that today is Rebecca's anniversary.
Yay.
So what a day. What a day to be talking about love.
I know. What can I fight about today?
She goes,
so we can make up, Elise. Help me.
Yeah, Elise, Rebecca, in the beginning, before we brought you on the air, we were talking about our guest today, and Rebecca goes, "Oh my gosh, this is so great." She goes, "Darren and I, we like to have a fight once in a while. We like to have a fight once in a while."
I actually love that mindset on it, and because conflict is part of relationship. It's part of the cycle of a relationship. You actually can't have a productive, effective relationship unless you have healthy conflict. And conflict can be something that actually creates intimacy and brings you closer. It's not something to be afraid of. It's something to lean into and to go there and to invite in, actually.
Right. See, I'm onto this.
I like this. Michelle, if you're in the room and you're watching, you and I, we're gonna talk later.
We're gonna fight tonight. Then we'll make up later.
We're gonna have a good fight tonight, honey. So, and it is true. It is true. I think sometimes, and I'll confess to this, because I'm not a big conflict person. I actually title myself sometimes as a runner. I'm a little bit of a runner. I'm the guy.
A runner.
You're what?
I'm a runner too.
You're a runner too.
Yes, I am.
As soon as that conflict starts, I'm like, I'm exiting the room, the house, in the past, I've exited the relationship. So what can we talk to that? I mean, it's kind of a random freestyle interview, and we're just throwing things out there. But is that common? Is that common?
Yes.
Are we us runners?
So it's really interesting. I'm also a runner, and it's important to be aware of your conflict style. I was brought up in a family where there wasn't a lot of upfront conflict, and North Carolina, polite society, right? So it's not. I grew up in a family where we just didn't fight, and maybe there was some passive aggressivity sometimes, but my husband is Italian, and his family fights straight up. It's a different style, and I've had to really work on my presence during conflict, because there's something really powerful about staying in it, listening to the person, feeling the feelings that you feel, the emotions, the anger, the shame, the confusion, whatever comes up for you, but not closing down the conversation because it gets uncomfortable or you're hearing something you don't want to hear, but really staying there. And for the person, that's my work that I'm always doing. And for my husband, someone like my husband who's very explosive during conflict, that's his tendency, gets angry. For him, it's softening and being present with his emotions and expressing himself in an effective and loving way, even when he gets angry like that. And that's our personal work. That when you're aware of your conflict style, you can then take action to self-correct a little bit, so your conflicts become productive instead of the opposite. And it's very common in relationships to have one partner who is more of the attacker and one person who's more of the withdrawer, who wants to close down, shut down, avoid. And then the more that person avoids and shuts down, the more the other person goes for it and tries to get some kind of reaction.
So
Wow. Wow. There you go. Wow. I don't want to say we summed it up because we didn't, there's so much to this, but that's a great intro to this conversation.
Oh yeah.
I can tell you that. I think one of the key things, right, is even like if one person, has used the term attacker, where they want the argument, they're coming at you, right? I think one of the key things is respect. Like you can argue all day long if you want,
Right?
and especially if you enjoy it, right?
Right, Rebecca?
I was going to say Rebecca.
Once in a while.
But I think
spice it
the
up.
key thing is that if you can always maintain that level of respect, you're going to come out of it stronger, closer, and deeper in love. But it's when you disrespect, I think that's the killer.
Yeah.
At least I can only speak for myself.
No, you're right.
When it becomes disrespectful, it's like, yeah.
It's really interesting you say that. Yeah. And that makes me bring up something that I'm really passionate about, which is having a vision for your relationship. Because if you come up with a vision together, and your vision is centered on this theme of respect, no matter what, I want to have a sense of respect for you. No matter what, I want to feel respected. And you understand what that means for you. You understand what that means for your partner, really, and your daily actions in your conflict. You have that set up front, so you can connect to that even during difficult conversations, even during conflict. And yeah, absolutely. The other thing I want to say about conflict is that typically it's not actually about what you're fighting about.
Yeah, right? There's probably something in the background that's irritating you.
There's something in the background. And usually, so what I'm speaking to now is an amazing researcher named Dr. Sue Johnson, who talks about attachment theory. And her theory on relationships is that it's all about emotional connection. Like, we are wired as humans to need secure emotional attachments, like we have with our parents when we're born. And when that attachment becomes, when it's threatened, we get really scared and we get triggered, because it's in our DNA to need that. It keeps us safe. It keeps us alive. It honestly keeps us alive. It keeps our immune system up. It keeps our nervous system in balance. And so when we're fighting, that connection is threatened. And so really, it's not whatever we're fighting about, whatever you're saying that's disrespectful. It's not really about that. It's about this feeling of fear that I feel that we are going to lose this connection that's so important.
Wow. That's really something, if you could only get people to think about that in the beginning of the argument.
Right.
And I think that's where it comes in, where people start arguing. I know Michelle and I had a conversation the other day. We found ourselves arguing when we were agreeing with each other. It's like we're hyper agreeing right now, but yet we're all tense and we're all like anxious, and it's like, wow,
I agree with you so much.
You are so right.
Let's go make up.
Shut out the light. Let's go make up. Oh my gosh. No, it's so true.
It really is.
One of the things that you and I discussed last month when we first met, you had made mention of creating a relationship vision, right? Can you explain to our viewing audience what that means and where do you start with that? Because I like that, like create your relationship vision.
Yes,
I
absolutely.
like that too. Mm-hmm.
I absolutely love this conversation because I think that living with vision in general is so powerful. And it's, if you think about your business, you have a vision for where you're going. You have goals to get there. So you have kind of a pyramid where you have a broad vision, then you have goals, and you have daily actions that you take to reach your vision. Well, I don't think it's so common in relationships to think that way. And we get into a daily routine where things are kind of status quo. They just are where they are, and you roll with the punches and you just kind of let it flow, and whatever happens, happens. What a vision does is it helps you to be really intentional about who you're being in the relationship and the relationship that you are actively creating every day. Because your relationship is a creation. It's not something, it's just like love. Love is something you create in your life. It's not something that happens to you, that you get lucky and you find. It's something that you create through acts of love. And so your vision, and it's going to be, I think, we all have some things in common that we want to experience. We all want to experience love. We all want to experience emotional connection. We all want to be respected in our relationships, but everyone has a little bit of a different definition for what that means based on our experiences and based on our needs and based on our triggers. We all have triggers. We all have wounds that are going to be rubbed in relationship. And so your vision is going to address your particular needs, your particular love languages. That's another tool that I love. Are y'all familiar with the love languages?
Yeah, there's a book that I'm only like a quarter of the way through, and I bought it 2 years ago.
Oh boy.
No, but there's several different love languages, and it's knowing, your love language, knowing your partner's love language, and being able to speak to it.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
And that can be part of your vision. Like my love language is words of affirmation. And knowing that helps me a lot because that's not my husband's love language at all. But he knows that it's part of my vision to be acknowledged through his words. Like I need that to feel loved. And I can be intentional about giving him the chance to love me in that way, just like he gives me the chance to love him through quality time and acts of service, which are his love languages. And when we're intentional about that, then we can make sure that we're actually creating it. And so you have your vision, you can work on it with your partner, you can dive into what these words that are broad words, right? Respect. What does respect mean? What does that really mean to you? Have a conversation about that. When was the last time you felt disrespected? What happened? When was the last time you felt really respected and what happened? Conversations like this to deepen your sense of vision for where you're going as a couple. And then set yourself goals, maybe you want to make love more often. That could be a goal.
I think that could be a goal. I think you need to write it down, put it on your refrigerator, put it on the bathroom mirror, put it on the dresser.
It's hard with kids.
Yeah. Make love more often. Goal number 1.
I'm in trouble.
I'm in trouble, she goes.
We got kids all over the place.
No, Darren's in trouble. But no, you are absolutely right. This is real. And how many times, couples really don't set goals as in the goal of the couple. They might, it's super important to say, hey, we're going on vacation the first week of August, so make sure, we got everything done. Or, yep, we're going to spend Thanksgiving with your family. And they're talking about the 6 months in advance, right? But when do couples get together and talk about the goals? You and I would love to accomplish this, as in how it's going to help our relationship. And if we can set a goal and work towards it, it doesn't say we have to do this by next week. But, when we argue, the argument tends to be a little bit disrespectful, or the argument tends to be, you're attacking me and I'm shutting down. Let's set a goal that you will start to back down and I will start to open up. I don't want to say I'm making this up. I am not a psychology major. I am far, far from a relationship expert. If there's one thing I've failed at so many times in my life, that's probably one. And I'm being transparent and honest right now. Can't help it. It's who I am. I do have a morning show.
Haven't we all? I mean, you can't learn except through failing.
That's right.
That is true. That is true. We talked about being proactive in love.
Mm-hmm.
I love these terms, right?
I do too.
Terms alone. If you could just put that on your mirror, be proactive in love. What does that mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this can go along with the goals that you set for your relationship and how you show up. I loved how you said in conflict. You can really set a goal for practicing being a certain way that is going to work for your relationship vision, just like you said. So for me, I can set a goal for practice being present during conflict. Don't run away. Don't shut down.
Oh my gosh.
Stay there. Let it, whatever comes up, create that space for those emotions, even when they're difficult. That's my practice. And that's my goal in my relationship. And
hold on. Let me rephrase that. Not rephrase it. Let me repeat it. Practice being present during conflict.
I love it.
So powerful. And maybe because that just totally hit me. Not just being present in the room, be present in the conversation, be present in the solution, be present in the goal of what you're trying. Be present as in, are you being respectful?
Yeah. Be present with what you feel. Be present with what you feel, because what makes you shut down or what makes you fire up is whatever emotion, whatever trigger is there. And when you start to recognize your trigger and say, okay, I'm getting really angry now, or okay, I have this urge to walk away, to close this conversation. When you study what that really is, you can overcome that. You can be with it. You can let it be okay. And it triggers you less then.
So
you're
true.
hired. You're hired.
You
are good.
Handshake.
That is awesome.
Great. I know.
This is good stuff. And this is what Wake Up to the Vibe is all about, is trying to inspire people to reach higher, be better, and to live the life of love, peace, and happiness. And I say this sincerely. I'm not even usually I'm joking around with the things that I say.
No.
But yes, and you are helping us achieve that goal.
Thank you.
Show up and be your best self was something that you and I discussed. What is show up and be your best self?
Okay. Well, first, I didn't even get to talk about proactive love.
Oh, I'm sorry.
This can be part of it. So I want to go back to the love languages really quick about proactive love, because there are infinite ways that you can be proactive in love. The first thing to know is to know that love is something you create. So you take responsibility for creating the love that you want to experience in your life. Love is the fruit of your labor. It is not something that is just floating around that you can fish out of the air. So that's the first thing to really get. And then there are so many different tools for how you can practice it. But one of the most powerful tools and one of the easiest tools I found is the love languages. The love languages work so well. This is Dr. Gary Chapman's love languages. They work so well because they help you to be conscious and to be aware of your language. Like I'm speaking English right now. If you were speaking to me in Chinese, I would not understand you. You could be yelling at me in Chinese and I would not get it. And so many relationships break down because people are speaking different love languages and they're just not getting it. They're just not feeling loved. And I love the metaphor he uses. He uses a metaphor called the love tank. Each person has a love tank. It's either full or in the middle or empty. And you can tune in and ask yourself, okay, how loved am I feeling in my relationship? Is my love tank full, or is it halfway, or is it empty? And when you're getting empty, that's when you're getting to the feeling threatened in your relationship, like you're emotionally threatened. And I love that too, because in the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, I've got all my books right beside me.
Oh yeah, with Stephen Covey.
He uses the emotional bank account, and Dr. John Gottman uses the same metaphor. So this is something that's just, it works in order to help you understand your own ability to give and receive love, your ability to expand your capacity for love, right? So the love languages, knowing your own and knowing your partner's, helps you to take active steps to fill up your partner's love tank and to make sure that your love tank is full. So if I'm conscious that I'm not feeling loved, I can request that when it's a good time for my partner, that he do something to help me, to support me, because we're here to support each other. We're here to love each other. And if something isn't feeling good and I'm aware of it, I can ask, I can request.
Wow. Amazing.
It is amazing. I'm sitting there going, yeah, it's like somebody had said that to me once about spirituality. And I'll never forget this. I was in the grocery store walking down the aisle, ran into my good friend, Steve Barnett. And he says, we got talking about faith. And in the grocery store, it must've been a Sunday morning or something. And he's like, I'll never forget this. He says, Joe, faith is not like a gas tank where you only fill it up when it's empty. You need to keep your tank full all the time, and it will get you further down the road. And that's really kind of what you're saying, the love tank. I love that. I think that's a great name for a band. Love tanks. Like, I just love that term, love tank. Oh man, my love tank is running empty. Like,
help me out. Yeah.
Help me out here, baby. My love tank is empty.
I gotta go wake up my husband.
But I totally get what you're saying. And I think sometimes it probably has something to do with when people start to consider having an affair, or they just kind of get sucked into it some way or another, is because their love tank is empty.
Yes, that's exactly what's happening. They're not feeling connected. They're not feeling attached. Their love tank is empty. And when you become aware, it's really powerful. Like when you become aware of how the love languages work. I'll give you an example. This is my favorite example. My husband's love language is quality time. What does that mean? He needs my full presence with him for a little while every day. It's not hard, but before I knew that, I would be talking to him and washing the dishes, or talking to him and, walking around the house and watering the plants and cleaning and stuff. And he would say things to me like over the course of he would say things like, we never see each other. You're always gone. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, we sleep together. We both work from home. Like, we see each other all the time. But that was a cry from him of like, hey, my love tank is, getting a little low here, because I wasn't present with him.
Right.
People who have this love language need to feel like they're the center of your universe.
Yeah.
Even just for 5 minutes, but they need your presence. They need you to listen to them, watch them, be with them. And I wasn't giving that to him, and I didn't know. I was just unaware.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And through studying this and through wanting to be intentional and wanting to create love, I discovered that. And now, the second he says that to me, I know exactly what to do, but he doesn't say it so often.
Great advice. Great
and
advice.
you're being proactive
Mm-hmm.
in a sense that if you take care of that need first, everything else is so much better.
Oh yeah,
That's
Like
true.
probably getting a little too deep on this for morning radio, but I'm going to say this. Making love is so much better when the love tank is full and your needs are being met, as in your emotions are being fulfilled, you're feeling loved, you're being listened to. When
Yep.
all of those things fall into place, oh my gosh, everything else is just like, woo.
yeah. And then when I need him to take out the trash or to help me with the laundry or something, he'll do it.
Right. No, this is so true.
You're like, honey, please. I took out the trash today.
This is just so true. It's like,
I listened to you talk about bikes for 15 minutes. How can you take out the trash?
Yeah. I love it. It's good stuff.
Completely true, though. It really is.
So can we touch on it? And I apologize because I jumped on it too early because I'm just like anxious to like get all this out of you. And we can literally like so many interviews, including this one, we can go all day long. And I'm like, I want to hit all the bullets for our viewers. Let's give them the value. And this has been phenomenal. Let's touch on the show up as your best self.
Mm.
Yeah. Oh gosh. That is all about taking responsibility for your relationship. So I've already been touching on it and just being intentional, doing your own self-development work and not expecting anything of your partner. That's what I want to say about that. The more you become the person who you truly want to be, you define that, you develop your self-awareness, you develop your capacity for growth and for learning about yourself, the better partner you'll be. And, we talk a lot in our society, it's a very independent society. And so people say, you need to be strong and independent, and you do in your relationship. So in tango, you have two people who need to come together as a couple. And what's amazing is that tango works best when you have both people who are really balanced, but then they come towards each other like this. And then they can dance. So then they can twirl. And if somebody makes a wrong step and falls a little bit, the other partner is there, right? But in any moment, you as the dancer are responsible for finding your balance. Even if the other person is pushing you, even if they're a little bit off balance, you're always responsible for being in your balance. And it's the same in relationships. So people just watch how much you want to blame the other person for things that happen in your life, or blame I catch myself saying this, you make me feel, or you make me so angry, you blah. Anytime you're saying that means you're not taking responsibility for what's happening inside you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's really powerful when you do that.
Yeah.
Because then the other person isn't responsible for making you happy or for anything. You're responsible for creating your life, no matter what.
So true.
Well, I think it's important, right? Take ownership in your part,
Mm-hmm.
which is showing up as your best self. If you can, I think one of the things is people struggle in relationships to apologize.
Yes.
Right. It's a hard thing for people to say, look, I'm really sorry. I screwed up. I shouldn't have said that to you. I was being disrespectful. You don't deserve that. Right. And I think that's, obviously when someone's sincerely sorry, it's so much easier to forgive them and move on.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the big pencil eraser, right? It doesn't make it okay. It doesn't mean we're not going to talk about this, but man, if you're at
You
fault,
owned it.
Take a little bit of ownership, right? Show up as your best self. Listen, be aware. Awareness and communication. Simple concepts to build a beautiful relationship, right?
So true. So true.
Simple to understand, so hard in practice.
I know.
So let me ask you, you offer this service to couples. Can they come to you? And even in today's environment, I mean, you're in Zurich, Switzerland right now. The
Yes.
quality of the audio and video is excellent. Like right
Mhm.
now, if Rebecca was my wife and she was sitting there and we were arguing, you could coach her out of this.
Sure, sure.
Oh,
Yeah, and one of the things that it's kind of like you said about the love tank or your spiritual tank. What I love about coaching is it's for people who know that they want something, they want to reach the next level, right? So maybe you're at a place where things are just kind of blah, and there's something more for you. A coach can help you, give you a different perspective, help you become aware of something that you weren't aware of before in yourself or in your partner, help you think through what to say, how to be in a way that really works in your relationship to take it to the next level.
right.
Yeah. So first I want for you to share your contact information, however you want our viewers to contact you, because I would love nothing more but to hear a success story come out of this show where they can contact you. And then the next thing I want to do, so after you give your contact information, I want to do a challenge. We need to challenge the people in this group. You need to challenge me and challenge Rebecca on how we can end this show and go to our relationships with something new. But let's start with your wife going upstairs. We don't need to know this. I see Rebecca over there shutting. I see her shutting her phone off.
It's already off.
Let's start with your contact information. If somebody wants to reach out to you and they want to work with you, whether it's one-on-one or as a couple, how can you help?
I would love to hear from your viewers, and I know that everyone's up to the challenge because coaching is also a challenge always. And if you Google my name, Elise Dorsett Relationship Coach, my website will come up. I'm on Facebook at elise.dorsett. I'm on Instagram. I'm on LinkedIn, and it's all under my name, Elise Dorsett. And on my website, you'll find a link to schedule a complimentary session. So I always do a complimentary session just to get to know people and understand if I'm the right fit for their needs. So that's always available as well.
I love it. I actually, and talk about being proactive. If couples would take this step and reach out to people like you, don't wait until there's a problem. Do it now anyway.
Yeah,
make an investment. What the heck? You spent $120 going out to dinner, having a few drinks, and then you went home and you argued because you had too many drinks. You're better off spending the money with someone like Elise, right?
Right, and have dinner at home.
Because guess what? That's a lot cheaper than a lawyer. You know what I mean? So really be proactive, set goals in your relationship, keep the love tank full.
Right. That's right.
Yes.
So now let's challenge our viewers. What type of challenge can we put on the table to say, listen, because here's the thing. A lot of people in the room right now, there are some that show up as couples, they might be retired. Sandy and Bob, beautiful couple, right? They watch our show all the time together. I absolutely love that. You know what I mean? But for the majority of the people in the room, I imagine they're getting ready for work and they're on the run, but they're not sitting down with their partner watching Wake Up to the Vibe together, right? So let's challenge the viewers to step up and do one thing today to really help their relationship. Even if your relationship is amazing, make it super amazing.
Okay.
Love it.
I have 2 ideas.
Okay.
So everyone can pick one that resonates most with them. The first challenge is to take the love languages quiz. It's free. It's on Gary Chapman, 5lovelanguages.com. And you can take the quiz. It takes 5 minutes and you'll discover what your love language is. And then maybe your partner can take the quiz too, but start with taking the quiz and discovering that about yourself. Learn a little bit about your love language. That's a proactive step you can take. Another step, very different challenge, is to be aware over the next week of how often you want to blame your partner for something happening in your life. Whether it's you getting angry or you tripping because they left something in the hallway, or anything that you tend to want to push on somebody else, and practice having humility and saying, I created this.
Yeah.
I created this anger. I created this uncomfortable feeling. I'm responsible for this. I'm responsible for this decision, whatever it is. That's a different challenge.
I love
love
it. Yeah, and follow that up with an apology.
Yes.
I'm a big apology guy. I offer them and I accept them. And that's the truth. But I have difficulty when one does not exist from either person. When there is not an apology, both people can apologize on the same topic, you know, but it makes life so much easier.
It really does. It really does. Yeah. We started out this conversation talking about mistakes. We all screw up. Screw up.
We sure do.
Yeah.
Elise, I can't thank you enough for joining us this morning. This was fantastic.
I'm so glad. I'm so honored to be on, and I just love what y'all do. Thank you for having me.
Come back.
Yes, come back.
Please.
I actually think you should have your own show on Wake Up to the Vibe.
Yes.
Throwing that out there. Let you and I talk.
I love this idea. I'm really excited about this. I definitely want to talk to you afterward.
Awesome. Hey, you're waking up to the vibe. I want to thank you, Elise Dorsett, relationship coach. You have yourself a wonderful, beautiful day, and thank you for joining us today.
We'll see you soon.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye now.
Bye. Oh, I love her.
Awesome. Yep. That's all I can say. That was good stuff.
Completely.
Wow. I want to end the show and just call Michelle up and say, look, honey, we're taking the day off today. And we're not leaving the bedroom.
All right.
Oh, my gosh. I'll tell you
Love
what.
it.
It's good stuff. It really is. I just really, I love bringing this stuff to the table. I love being that type of show.
It's real.
It is real. And this is the all new Wake Up to the Vibe.
That's right.
It really is good stuff.